All opinions expressed by the program participants are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Upscale Love for You. The program participants' opinions are based on the information that they consider from their own knowledge. No expressions or accuracy is related to Upscale Love for You. Welcome. This is DFG, the man in the place to be, doing my thing and making it swing. Welcome to Upscale Love for You, the home of the brave and the home of the lovers. Doing your thing and making sure that you learn something today. I am the co-host of this. Our host is our fabulous Dr. Fabulous, who's always fabulous and doing her thing. We also have Lady T from the 305, and she's always bringing it live. We got Lady K. She's not from the 718, but she's from the 912, and she know what it, and she make it do what it do. And last but not least is the man, the action, and the Jackson. Mr. Action Jackson, Rayvon Jackson, he is the man that has a plan and will do it like nobody else can. Now, before we get started, I'm going to pass it over to my favorite host and CEO. Let's get it in, Dr. Fab.
Good evening, everyone. You know, we had a little blooper tonight. On our flyer is the incorrect code. Hopefully, you have gone to Upscale Love for You group and page to get our new code for tonight. But if you haven't, guess what? You can always go check it out on YouTube, and that way you can like it, share it, and become a part of Upscale Love for You. And tonight we are going to touch bases about mental health. Different things go on with mental health that we are definitely going to talk about tonight. Basically, it's an open forum. You can talk, you can share, but most of all, we're right here for you so that you can give us what you want to talk about, as well as we will share with you the things that we know about mental health as well. So this evening, without further ado, my co-host, he brought me in strong and solid. And then next, we're going to let the lady from the 305 introduce herself, none other than Lady T.
Thank you, Dr. Fab. Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited about tonight. I just want you to just know that mental health is a very serious issue, and I hope that your testimonies, your comments, and concerns can set it on fire. So I'm going to slide it over to Special K. Let's see what she has to say.
Well, good evening, everyone. This is Special K. I'm coming to you from the 912, the beautiful city of Savannah, Georgia. Hoping everyone had a great week so far. And like Lady T said, tonight's topic is a very good one and something that we need to discuss, mental health. So I just hope that everyone enjoys and participates in the live session and forum, and hope everyone enjoys tonight's topic and conversation. I'll go ahead and I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Rayvon Jackson.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in tonight's episode of Upscale Love. I'm your co-host, Jackson. May is Mental Health Month, and the crew will take mental health as a serious health issue. Millions of people across the world is impacted by mental health. We hope to discuss in further detail and share some solution about mental health. Let's pass over to you, Dr. Fab.
Okay, well, if this is your first time, please don't let it be your last, but just a little bit about Upscale Love for You. We are formulated to entertain, educate, and facilitate self-help, self-love, and everything you want or wish to know about love and relationships. And when we say relationships, it could be dating, marriage, whatever you want to say, cohabitating. It's whatever you want to call it. But Upscale Love for You often uncovers hot topics, sensitive matters, sensitive issues, and all of that and everything in between. Whether you are actively seeking direction or looking for ways to pass the time or genuinely looking for a good conversation, guess what, y'all? Upscale Love is here for you. So, tonight, without further ado, we are definitely going to get into it. And like I said, when it comes to mental health, there are so many different things that you can talk about, whether it's anxieties, whether it's depression, or whether, how can I say this in a nice way so people won't become offended? Whether you just need to get help and, take care of everything you need to take care of about different issues. And so, before we get started tonight, I'm going to ask you this question. And this is dealing with relationships. Have any of you ever been in a relationship, but the relationship is so toxic? And I know everyone know what toxic means, but you're so in love with this person, you continue to go back and go back and go back. Do you know that it states that when you're dealing with a toxic relationship, it can cause mental stress? So, forever, whenever, or if you ever have dealt with a situation like that, the love may be so good to you, but guess what? That's a trigger, and you want to get help for that issue. So, without further ado, I'm going to ask that Special K, are you ready? Okay, well, I guess I'll continue to talk.
No, I'm ready. I'm
You ready,
ready.
Special K?
Yes.
Okay, well, Special K, go ahead and get started with the master plan about mental health.
All right. So good evening, everyone. So with this month being mental health awareness, I just wanted to talk basically on the stigmas of mental health in the African American community, and why do we think that therapy is so taboo or it's not normalized enough? Because a lot of times someone suffering from mental health issues is not always what we some people think of mentally ill as just being crazy. People you may see homeless out on the street. There's a lot of high functioning depressed people, people who work with us every day, live with us, have money, dress nice, all of those things, but are deal with depression on a day-to-day basis. um so you're just looking for someone from the outside. You just never know what people are experiencing in the inside. That's for me where I think we should try to practice empathy when it comes to certain people in certain situations, because not everyone deals with situations the same. Um, so sometimes we need, I feel, to just be an ear sometimes to listen to people. We don't always have to input our thoughts on things. Sometimes people, especially if someone's in a fragile state or depressed, from I was told this from a person who suffers from depression, that they on the outside, we would look at them as, well, you have this going on, you have that going on for yourself. Why, get out that funk. It's not that easy for them. And sometimes we just need to listen and, and just be an ear. Of course, like Dr. Philgo, you said use discernment. So of course, if someone is talking about harming themselves or, doing something that's harmful to themselves or others, of course, use your discernment in a situation like that. And, if you have to, get professional help to step in or whatever it may be. But I really think we have to normalize, pushing, in my opinion, therapy is a great benefit. A lot of people are walking around with childhood traumas. And I think if we normalize talking about our past traumas, I think a lot of us will find that we're not alone, or even may have some similar issues that we're dealing with. And again, just in my experience, for about 5 years in my hometown in New Jersey, I lived in I guess you could say it was like a rural town, and it was probably 70% Caucasian, 30% Black. And I'm gonna tell you, the mental health services up there were like off the roof, something I wasn't used to seeing. And these people were in therapy, and they would talk about it like, yeah, I go on such and such a day to see my therapist. Like it was just normal for them. Where I came up and came from, it was not at all. You either was told to just pray it away, or you just didn't talk about it at all. So I guess to lead off tonight, I would ask, so how much of an effect do you feel, and how much of an effect do you feel that your childhood trauma or childhood interactions or relationships affect your mental health, and affect your mental health and having healthy relationships as an adult now? Would anyone like to lead off with tonight's discussion, being it's an open forum? Again, how much of an effect do you feel, if you've experienced any childhood trauma or just childhood relationships, whether it could be with your parents, family members, siblings, friends, whoever, affect your mental health or affect you having healthy relationships now as an adult?
I'll go ahead and
So,
start.
okay, Miss Melly.
It has a great effect on you because I lost my mom at 7 years old to a murder, and it has the lights shining too bright. I'm sorry, y'all. It have a great reflection on you because everything that I did, and sometimes still do to this day, a lot of it segue back to my growing up and the different things. She wasn't there for graduation. She wasn't there for prom, wedding, childbirth, etc. I was just mad at the world for years. So it does affect you. And I never had counseling or no type of counseling for it. So to this day, I really need to go see a therapist because it still come back up constantly at times.
That's what I was going to ask you, Ms. Millie, if at any point did you ever get or talk to anybody professionally or get any counseling or therapy for that? Because that's a very big trauma you've experienced, losing your mom. So that at such a young age. And it's not too late. Like, do you think that would be helpful to you to have someone to talk to?
I think it will, because a lot of decisions you make, sometimes all of that plays a role in it. Because when you see things going on, it triggers it again, and it almost bring it back up fresh again at times. So yes, I think I really need to go. I have counseling friends, but a lot of time when you're friends, they can't counsel you the way they. So they keep suggesting I go to an outside counselor, and I keep telling them I am, but I haven't, but I am.
Yeah, it works. And I agree with you. I think a lot of times our friends and family members are just not the best people too. I mean, they can give their input, that's fine, but really having someone who is like strictly doesn't know you, doesn't know their body, they can't be biased about anything,
They can't be biased.
Right. And I think it really helps. I was blessed though to have a grandmother who she was my grandmother was raised up in Harlem, New York. She went through a lot, she experienced a lot, and she pushed counseling on us so hard, and she never hid it and told us if it wasn't for her weekly therapy sessions, she said she don't know where she would have been in life. From a lot of trauma she experienced. And it really helped her, like even for me, once I had my children, she always tried to break that cycle.
Exactly.
And that was from a lot of help with her own therapist. So she didn't really pass it down to us, and things like that. I have never been to a therapist personally. for myself, but I had to start doing it with my daughter and sitting in those sessions. At one session, I found myself just talking, and I said that was the first time it really hit me like,
It hit you
this
hard.
feels
Yeah.
good. Like I was really like opening up, letting out, and it felt good to really help me with some things. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But really that was just only thing I had. I don't know if anyone else would like to chime in about, do they feel that any childhood trauma or relationships maybe that were unhealthy as a child, affects their relationships now as an adult? Or just anybody's thought on, mental health. I know anxiety for me is something that, sometimes I deal with. And I feel like it's a lot of us sometimes deal with issues, and people just cover up, in different ways, whether it be drinking too much, turning to alcohol, turning to drugs. And I think sometimes, if I just, in my opinion, feel like if counseling and therapy was just more at the forefront in our community, that a lot of us could heal better.
That is true.
I got something about childhood trauma. The more we talk about it, I'm reflecting on my experience as a kid. I moved to this country at 9 years old from Jamaica. I moved around from New York, Alabama to Mississippi, Maryland, back to Atlanta. So I have a hard time fostering a relationship with people. I treat people nice. I'm a good person by nature, but having that like relationship with, I don't know how to connect with a lot of people. Make sense? So like the bonding. So I keep a small
Circle.
circle of friends, like 2 or 3 friends. So, but a lot of time, because of my kindness, people take advantage of my kindness, and also because of what I've been through in life. My aunt raised me, and because my parents, sent me here to a better opportunity, and I had an abusive stepmom, which was rough as a kid. I was suicidal at one point in my life. Came to open a conversation in a public forum, but it is what it is. But I noticed some of that experience as a kid impact my adult life, and there's some of the decisions I make. It's like I'm always going to be on the giving side because I didn't get love, so I tend to be more kind and giving. And
Yep.
People take advantage of it and think you're weak, but it's not. I'm a weak person, but I need what it feel like when somebody's like, pick on me, call me names, make me feel like shit. Excuse my language, for better word. But as I got into my teenage adolescent year, started playing football, working out, I was able to overcome through exercise. But it's something I struggle with up until this day, because people like to say, why do people get away with these things? But they don't know what I've been through. So to me, what I'm experiencing now is minor compared to what I experienced as 9 years old when somebody tell me, hey, I wish you was dead. Like speak ill on my life, and it kind of pushed me to work harder. So I'm open up in this forum to you about myself, which is kind of crazy because I don't normally discuss these things with anybody. It's kind of like a hidden vault, but it is what it is right now. It's emotional having this conversation because it brings, like I said, experience, childhood trauma that I try to work with. But I do believe in counseling or therapy to kind of help go through this. But at the same time, I'm not doing it. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Right. A lot of us aren't. It takes a big step. It takes a lot of courage, I think, to really do it. But like I said in my opening, once we start opening up and talking, Ravon, you'll notice that a lot of us have experienced have similar experiences growing up with certain things. And that's a big help. So for Miss Millie and Ravon, that's like this is just a great step for you all right now, that you even just opened up about that on this forum.
But I use it now to help people learn how to forgive. So that helps me a lot with it.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much. I don't know, I don't have much time. I'm gonna pass it on, and I just want to just leave you guys with, it's okay to not be okay. Just reach out to and just, if you desire, get some counseling, get some help, and you will heal from it. And Dr. Fabulous, thank you for the time you gave me, and back to you now.
Okay, well, Special K, it's always a great time to have some input and to share your thoughts because, like I said, when you come on to Upscale Love for You, everybody's opinion matters and counts, and no answer is a wrong or a right answer because guess what? We are talking, we are sharing, and something that you may say may touch the heart of someone and affect them the way they need to be affected. Because a lot of people in today's society, like Special K said, they will not go and get counseling and they know that they need it. And they one thing she touched on, and I can just thank God I had a great childhood. And I always, think about, okay, I look at in today's society when it comes down to students, I'm an educator by profession in the daytime, a podcaster at night. And I tell people this all the time. It takes a special person to be an educator because you don't know what those children are dealing with at home and why they act the way they act when they come to school. So a lot of things, keywords, traumas can affect people so differently. And I'm going to share this, and I never thought that it was an issue, but I had a miscarriage and I was, fine. I thought I was fine. And I was getting ready to leave the hospital and I heard a baby cry. And it just literally broke me to, I was like, I got to get out of here. So when I say triggers, you can have some triggers that will set you back 10, 20 years ago if you don't work on that issue. So without further ado, Action Jackson, are you ready to take over, or should I go to Dr. Feelgood?
Go to Dr. Feelgood. I'm trying to meditate and think about reflect.
Okay. Okay.
Y'all want Dr. Feelgood? Y'all gonna get Dr. Feelgood. Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and of course, smooth as a Rolls Royce. Coming to you live from, I'm in the 615, doing my thing and making it swing. Hey, my question is for you. If you are broken, I'm talking, look in yourself, do you lack the introspection to be able to date someone who is healed? Because from my experiences, when we're broken, we find the same people that have the same breaks that we do. That's what attracts us. And you attract who you are. If you're healed, you're going to attract healed people. If you're broken, you're going to attract certain broken people. And a lot of us don't want to admit that we have issues. That's that I'm a 10 mentality. Ain't nothing wrong with me. My shit don't stink. However, we date somebody and then we have the nerve to call them crazy. Correct me if I'm wrong. We have the nerve to call people crazy and we do crazy stuff ourselves. So the question today, panel, is, have you done the work to make sure that you're healed enough to find a healed person to attract? I'm gonna start with you, Mr. Beard. Mr. Beard, I know you on, you're animated. Have you done the work to find that person that's healed in the same way that you would be healed?
Yes, sir. You know I am. Apologize for the noise. I'm still at work. But I'm gonna say this. I realized that, and it took me all the way into my 30s for me to figure that out, because the phrase hurt people is legit. And it ain't that you're doing it intentionally, it's just that you got scars. And you're right. I was attracting people that had the same scars because I was trying to empathize with them, and they was trying to empathize with me because we had been through the same things. And I had to realize that I gotta stop, put my relationships on a board, so to speak. And every relationship I've been had to be a teaching lesson, something that it taught me. something that it brought me, and I viewed it like that. You know, from this person I learned I need to work on this. From this person I know I need to not do that. And from there I compartmentalize it, pack it up, work on that, and then I can engage into another relationship. Because as long as I was jumping from person to person, relationship to relationship, I wasn't doing nothing but finding the same things over and over again, ending up with the same result over and over again, and dating the same people over and over again, and it wasn't doing me any good.
And
So
you know what?
now
You
I
know what the
sit
big
back,
thing, Mr. Beard, is that you blamed everybody else.
oh yeah, I definitely did. It's your fault. You should have did this. I was better than that. If it was my fault, it still wasn't my fault because you should have told me. I was only
Exactly.
bad. And I was
Exactly.
horrible about it. I ain't gonna lie. And it took me growing to realize that it was me.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing. That's a hard thing to take because I know I done messed up more than one relationship because of my stupidity. But I didn't want people to know that. So I'd make up stories on to make me look like the good person. But deep inside, I knew I was screwing up. I knew I was a piece of crap. I was Pookie. I was Ray Ray. I did all that stuff. But once I got healing, I realized that, you know, what looks good ain't always good for you.
All right.
Some people are here for a reason. Some people are here for a season. And you got to discern which is which. You have to listen, and everybody tells on themselves. You let them talk long enough. And you just have to continually work on you. You can't work on somebody else. Because if you're working on somebody else, that means you ain't working on you. If you're not working on you, you're gonna wind up in the same trap with the same type of people that you've been attracting before, and then blaming them for being them. What about you, Mr. Bazell? Have you done the work? Mr. Bazell? Going once, twice. Um, there
I'm
you
here.
go.
Hold on. I had to. I'm doing this on my phone, so I had to find the screen again. First off, let me say good evening. How you guys doing?
Good evening. Good evening. Glad to have you back.
Thank you. Thank you. And second of all, to answer the question, yes, I have done the work. I'm still doing the work. Um, dealing with, but for me, it's not so much childhood trauma. It's just dealing with. I had to deal with situations from that first union to make sure that I didn't bring certain things into my current relationship, and also to deal with just everyday situations since my wife and I do run our own business. The everyday stress of working together, living together, loving together, being together, all of that comes into play. And so, um, we both make sure that we have our outlets. We both make sure that we have our counselors. And we both make sure that we do our thing weekly, getting some things off your chest. And sometimes it may not be anything traumatic or dramatic. You just need someone to talk to outside of your normal circle. And I always try to tell people, especially when you're dealing with relationships, the person you're with, yeah, that should be your best friend. That should be your, we down like full flat tires. But there are times that because that is your person, you aren't hearing them or they aren't hearing you, but you get that third party involved. You both then kind of sort of understand exactly what the other person's saying. All of the presumptions, all of the misconceptions, all of the, well, I already know what you're going to say is removed because that third person doesn't know either one of you, and they can usually be the interpreter that you need to make things better.
Interesting.
That's my 2 cents on this situation. Unless anybody else has any questions for me.
Well, I have a question for you, Darren. You said that you all work together, and of course you live together because you're husband and wife. How do you take a breather when you feel a little toxicity coming on between the two of you, if you ever had that situation to occur? Because it has to be a lot to work with the person as well as live with the person. And that's almost like being with someone 24/7. But I know I understood. But I would like your views on how do you overcome the little tension if there should ever be any attention that arise between the two of you. Darren, you on mute if you're trying to answer my question.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah, that always comes up because, as you say, you're with someone 24/7. No matter what, no, in my opinion, let me phrase that in there. In my opinion, no matter what anyone says, that person that you're with, that person that you love, that person that you want in your life at all times, things happen. We are all people, we're all human. Shit's gonna happen. Something's gonna be said, something's gonna be misinterpreted, something's gonna be done unintentionally to bring tension into the group, stress, strife, whatever.
Mhm.
And what we do is, luckily, we have an upstairs and a downstairs. Uh, we incorporated an office for her downstairs. I usually stay upstairs, either in the bedroom or um, in the dining area. We do interact all day long because I'm the technical part of the business. She is more of the business end. So we're always interacting, but things come up, things happen. Nobody's perfect. And we determined from the very beginning of this thing that when that happens, like the old saying goes, you sit down, you work it out. We're two grown people. We don't have time to act like teenagers. We don't have time to be all up in our own feelings. Things are going to happen. Something's going to be said. Something's going to be done. But you have to be big enough, man enough, woman enough, adult enough to say, you know what? Let's sit down, talk this out, work this out. We may get a little hot, we may get a little heated, but at the end of the day, it's still me and you, and we got to keep going.
Okay. Well, I can appreciate that. Dr. Feelgood, I just asked the question. Jump right on back in, Dr. Feelgood.
Thank you, Dr. Fabulous. I wanted to give a shout out to my favorite girl who's in my world, the newest grandmother, Miss Chocolate Pearl. What's going on, sis?
Hey y'all, I didn't mean for you to call on me, but it's good to see y'all
You should
and
you should
everything.
you
Hey,
shouldn't you
Miss
should know
Millie,
better.
Hey,
You should know
Doc.
better.
Lacey, Dr. Fabulous.
That's it. That's it. Welcome, welcome.
Well, I'm gonna ask you the same question. Have you been healed enough to know to not attract broken people?
I think I'm healed enough, but because of routine, you tend to still attract broken people. Because even though you feel that you're healed, your mindset is still saying that this is what I'm used to. You know what I mean? So you have you yourself within yourself have to look at something different. Like for instance, if you're dating a certain type, my type was bald head with beards, but then I overlooked everybody else. So sometimes a lot of those bald head with beards seems like they're the broken ones that I need to stay away from. So I need to try something different, something out of the box for me. And that might be the person. So yeah, you're still going to attract broken people because that's your dynamic of what you know. But you have to try to retrain yourself to look at something different. And because you can spot broken people right away because your acceptance is so quick.
See, that's what
You
I'm
know, your acceptance is so quick because that's something that you relate to. But when you don't relate to something, you're ready to push away. But that might be what you need because they did say opposites attract, right?
Yeah, it's they say opposites attract, but I'm more of complementary people attract. If I'm weak at something, you're strong at something. If you're strong, if I'm strong, if I'm strong at something, you're probably weaker at something. So we're helping each other grow because there's only two directions people can grow. We can grow together or we can grow apart. Depending on how healed we are, that's how far we go. Our attitude determines our altitude. That's that's a platitude, but hey, it has some things to work with. Dr. Fabulous. Let's go to the lady of the minute. Knowing that you were a widow and you've had a fabulous love affair with your now departed husband, do you think you've healed enough at this juncture to be able to move on and find somebody that's just as healed as you are?
I can truly say I definitely took the time to heal, because not only was my husband my best friend, he was my soulmate, my confidant, you name it, he was it. So when you have that love, that make your spine just, you know, he will always listen. And I don't care whatever man come into my life, he definitely has to love me, because it's always going to have a tinge in the back of my mind of my husband, because I truly loved him so. But I have done the work, and let me tell you all, ladies and gentlemen, when you know that you have healed, and as I said, my husband was a great man, so I'm always going to have wonderful thoughts of him. He's going to always have a special part in my heart. But when you know that you're healed, my husband and I, we had a large, I want to say 16 by something over my bed, over our bed in the bedroom, you know. And I said, wow, everybody walk into the room would see it was actually our pre-picture that we took prior to getting married. You know how you go and take a photo shoot or whatever. So it was over the top of our bed. And when my husband passed, it hung there and everything. And one day my oldest daughter said, Mom, do you feel like Dad is your angel, the reason why you keep that picture hanging over the bed? And I said, well, he's always going to be my guardian angel. However, I knew that I was ready and I was healed to move on if God placed someone else in my life to be that special person. Because guess what, y'all? I took the picture down from over my bed, but it still hangs in my house. It's in our formal dining room. So it's still there. And then I started to cultivate my bedroom into my special place now that he's no longer here. It was our special place, but now it's mine. I've geared the bedroom into that lady, how do you say? They say a man cave. This is my cave, where when you walk in, you know, ta-da, it's all about Dr. Fabulous. So you will know when you have healed to go on to the next relationship, or allow God to place that new person in your life. Okay, I think I answered that real good, didn't I? I gave you all the cream and all of that good stuff. And I know Lady T is saying if she don't stop talking with her hands, but that's just a natural thing for me. This is what I do. And if I can't use if they cut my hands off like they cut Kunta Kinte feet off, I'll be in a bad fix. Okay. So that's it. That's it. Can you hear me, Dr. Feel Good? I
Of course, I
think he
can hear
caught
you,
up.
Dr. Fab. I was listening. So
Oh, okay.
my
You
thing
had
is
an
that,
expression on your face like you
I know
couldn't
you
hear
got,
me.
see, the thing is though, as I know he's in your heart, so you won't forget him, but will you allow yourself to not be with him like that?
What do you mean? Be with him.
Be
He's no, he is where he is. He will always have a part of my heart. But if God bless me with another husband, I know that he would be my husband, center point, and it will be about my new husband. But until I get a new one, I'm going to always have that. Now, what I was doing prior to the true healing, I would compare this man to see what qualities he had like my husband. And then my wonderful Lady T said, listen, Dr. Fabulous, you got to stop doing a checklist off for every man you date or deal with, because there's never going to be another Tony Bacon. And so I had to wipe the slate clean and say, okay, going forward, I'm not going to do that. And if everybody that knows me, my husband was shorter than me. He was 5 feet, I want to say 8. And so, in order for me to go past that, guess what I said, y'all? From this point on, whoever I date have to be at least 6 feet tall, because I'm going out of the box. See, I was used to him being shorter than me. So now I won't date, I won't do anybody that's under 5'10". So there you have it. I moved
You know, that's less
on.
than 14% of the population, and
Well, that's okay.
probably
They must be all right,
10%
because
is black.
I've been meeting 6'4", 6'5". You better ask somebody. You
All
ask
right.
not, you have not, because you ask not. And I ask for exactly what I want.
All right, all right, all right.
That's it. Don't let me preach. Y'all better take up a collection.
Miss
Well-
Providence, Miss Providence, are you single, married, other?
I'm very much single. And thank you, Dr. Fabulous, for the invitation. I can say that I'm working on healing. I was in a 29-year marriage and I've been out for some time. I'm working on healing. But one of the things that kind of set me back was I was trying so hard not to look hurt or not to be hurt. You know, I put on that facade that it was okay and I was all right, but I was none of that. I needed my time to look inward and to examine, my next move. But when you're busy trying to, as I say, not look hurt, you can't heal in a timely fashion. You set yourself back.
And that's, but you know what though? That has a historical thing, because we as Black people were told we weren't supposed to show hurt. We supposed to be, we supposed to be strong Black woman, strong Black man. The only acceptable emotions are sorrow at a death, or joy, sometimes anger at the wrong people. But we don't want to look hurt because we think hurt makes us look weak, when recognizing hurt in actuality makes you a stronger person, because it gives you the impetus to want to fix it. Go ahead, Mr. Beard.
All right, sorry about that. I done left work now. So I'm gonna be honest with you. Sorry about the abbreviated version earlier. I'm gonna give you another one too. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been married 3 times, so I know pain. I'm very well acquainted with pain. Me and pain are like best friends. And rebuilding can be a very stressful process. But the number one lesson I could say that I've had to learn when it came to healing and rebuilding is that it never stops. Just because you got over the situation from one relationship and you think you've healed, you're constantly healing, because you're constantly evolving. You're constantly reinventing yourself. You're constantly molding. You're constantly changing. So with that, your mentality has to change. Your likes and your dislikes. So what I liked 10 years ago, I don't like now. So the type of women that I was attracted to 10 years ago was not the same ones I'm attracted to now. And with that uncharted territory is going to come more happiness and pain, more problematic issues and blessings. So what I had to realize is
I was giving you the
on the go, so to speak. Huh? Oh, sorry about that. I had to learn how to heal on the go and continuously heal. Because it's for me, every time I told myself, I'm okay, let me stop. I'm ready. I'm good. I'm complete. I'm ready for the next step. Out pops somebody to show me something new, bash me across my head with something different. And now I'm confused again, trying to figure out how did I end up in this situation once again? To me, that's what dating is about. And venturing out, it's all the colors in the rainbow, it's all the colors in the ice cream, and you got to find that one that's for you. And sometimes it takes you longer. Sometimes people pick it up just like that. But the biggest thing I took away from it is constantly knowing myself. Then I know what does and doesn't fit. Then I know what can complement, what can't complement, and I know then how to pick somebody who doesn't give me as much problems or trauma or have me reliving past experiences that didn't turn out too positive for me in the first place.
That's good, actually. I'll thank you for your candor. Sometimes you gotta lay back and read back what you want to see. But my time is up with this, and I'm going to ask Lady T, is she ready to jump on and get on this train of healing?
I believe that Lady T is having some technical issues this evening, so I'm going to come on around. Now, listen, let me tell you.
Jump in, Dr. Fab, if you want me to.
You can jump on in. Well,
Yeah.
jump on in, Action Jackson. That's what we want. We want you to take hold and take the wheel.
So my topic to discuss about childhood trauma is a very emotional subject to me. Experience it, I've lived it, I know what it feels like. Sometimes I'm still living it up until this day. Just different parts of my life when I could think about it. And a lot of time childhood trauma stem from like your parents absent in your life, your mother, your father, and not having like a dad in the home. Because also start for most young men probably turn to like gang violence, drinking, joining gangs, and doing the wrong things. A lot of time for the young ladies not having a dad or a father figure, may turn to like dating boys, being promiscuous, no one to like check them and put them in place, or even having a mom, like a mom love, for most men or women, when as young kids, you know how to find the right mate, to how to find love or what love is. So the compassion sometimes miss the caring, nurturing as a teenager, growing to young adult, adolescent, and young adulthood. So you end up dating people that you think who have some of the qualities you're looking for, and sometimes end up being toxic relationship. And like you said earlier, opposite sometimes attract, and sometimes attract what you are. You feel me? Or what you're looking for, you end up falling for the wrong spouse or the wrong partner. So my thing is like, what are some of the ways you think we could heal like young people to overcome trauma, or if they've been in an abuse situation, how do you reach out to that person? Hey, I see your pain, step in. Because a lot of times as an adult, you don't want to intervene on a parent. Like for example, you know somebody who's going through abuse, like a kid, but you know the parents are doing it wrong. How can we help save that child life? Because you don't want to cause them problem with the law or cause problem for them. So what is some advice you think is could do to help that person? Darren, what do you think? Darren?
Wait, are you asking like if it's a
Yeah,
child
I'm here.
or?
Yeah, a young person, like I said, you seen a young person, their parents being abusing them, or like or verbal or physical abuse. How can you step in to save that child, because that trauma may live on into their adult life? They may end up becoming an abuser, or but you don't want to cross the line with the parents or make somebody upset. Does it make sense? You turn a blind eye to it.
Okay, so are you asking me whether I've experienced it, or are you
No,
asking me my
how
opinion
would
on
you say, would you save a child who's going through that experience? If you happen to see it, like what advice would you give to a young person?
it? Okay. I'm probably not the right one to ask that question simply because of how I was brought up. Um, I was brought up with old people. When I say old people, I was raised by my aunt and uncle, 65 years old when they got me. And their philosophy is a lot different than things are nowadays, which in my opinion, I think it helped me. But if I saw it happening, my answer, I'm a straightforward person. I'm going to sit down, I'm going to ask you the question, I'm going to find out the details, and then either A, I will address the situation myself, depending on who the child is and who their parents are, or B, I'll probably direct the parents and let them know that they need to get this child some help because of what's being done to them. Like I said, I was raised by old people, so I'm old fashioned. If I see it happening, I'm getting involved because I still think that it's our responsibility as a village to take care of the children. And nowadays you have children having children.
Mm.
So I still think it's our responsibility to step in and direct them in the way that they need to go. So my answer would simply be deal with the situation, give the advice to the responsible parties, the parents, or whoever's raising the child. And if you can't get the proper answer from them, then you may just have to step in on your own and deal with that situation, report it to the proper people, and hope and pray and try to get that child the counseling that they need, that loving arm that they need, because a lot of times it's just a matter of having that one person they can go to
That's
really be honest with and to talk to get them past what's going on. Because from what I've been hearing, a lot, the people that have had these issues really had nowhere to go, or they didn't know where to go, or they thought there was nowhere to go. But if we make ourselves available and show the children that, yeah, there is still a village out there to help you out, I think that would change a lot of these traumatic situations that people are going through.
But a lot of times, Darren, the kids who are going through there, they're afraid to talk to someone because they know they may be consequent by, reporting to the authority or telling an adult. You feel me? Because a lot of times adults use situation to manipulate the situation. You feel me? Or like say a young girl being molested, being whatever.
Action Jackson, I'm gonna jump in here and thank you, Darren. That was excellent. And I understand you said you were raised by older people, but this is what I believe you're looking for, Action Jackson. The situation that you were saying when young people are being molested, and I'm talking from a family issue. I had a young lady and she said that she was molested by her mom's boyfriend. Well, come to find out, she told her mom, but her mom did not believe her. So, this is where the traumas come in with children having issues, of which it is a trickle down syndrome. Because when she got older, she realized that she had that issue. So, she went to get the help by going to a psychiatrist. Okay. But how about when going through that, she invited her mom to go with her for a counseling session. And the mother had been molested by her stepdad. And when I say it's a trickle down syndrome, her mind concept was she needed to get help because she said she felt like if someone had touched her child, because this had been going on from the mother. And if you want to know something, she says she looked all the way back to the grandmother, and the grandmother had been touched by the uncle. So you got all of this going on where they really thought this was a natural pattern, that it just happened. But that just doesn't happen. So when she got help, she said she knew she needed to get help because had someone done that to her daughters, she would have killed them dead. And so that's what I talk about when I say triggers. You have to realize that you got a problem in order to go on and get help. So, Action Jackson, sometimes children will not reach out because they have the fear of not being heard, or the person or the older person taking sides with the person that's actually doing the harmful things to them. And I'm gonna bring this out there. I know you all might know the Pace sisters from Atlanta, wonderful gospel group, but they were on this show and I watched it and I was like, what is that lady's name? I can never say her name the way Ivanka, she fixed my life. I'm sure you all probably know about it. But anyway, that, that's it. And the Pace sisters was on that show, and some of the sisters did not want to come on because it was going to show damage in their family, their bloodline of how well they were. Even though they were performers, they performed for, I mean, some of everyone because they have beautiful voices, but in their same household, two of the sisters, and you all can go back and watch this because I'm not going to say something that I didn't see on television, but I'm just repeating what I saw, that the brother was dealing or fondling, being intimate with the sisters, and the sisters did not want to bring that to the forefront because they are what, quote unquote, a religious family. And it's so bad that sometimes people will hide behind religion instead of getting the help they need. And I believe someone said it earlier this evening. They won't go and get help. They say, we got to pray this out. This ain't nothing but a demon. This ain't nothing but a spirit. Well, baby, you better get that spirit over to a counselor and get that real mind core concept. Because you know, you got to pray about things too. But sometimes it take a little more than prayer. Miss Millie, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
I can kind of relate somewhat with me living. My aunt raised me after my mom died. And she had a split personality basically. When she was drinking alcohol, the meanest, worst person, one of the worst people in the world in my eyesight back then. And so when she would like want to cuss, abuse me, jump on me, etc., I had my girlfriend 2 doors down. They always kept their back door open. So if I needed to come in at any given time, it was always available for me to come in. They knew how she acted. So no matter day or night, their back door stayed open. Even though this was in Florida, they kept it open so I could just walk right in anytime if I needed to. So when a child is going through it, we as adults have to we can look and we can, if you really look at a child and listen to what they're saying, they tell you what's going on indirectly. And if we listen, we can be a shoulder for them to lean on and be there for them. And let them find a way to deal with it without leading them into it, but letting them know it's okay to let someone know.
Okay. And that's absolutely correct, because every day, it's some stuff in the school system and you have to report it. Yep. God knows you have to report it, because if you don't,
you mandate it.
Exactly. Exactly. So Action Jackson, do you have any other questions or any other things you would like to share?
That's it. I'm good. No more questions.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Action Jackson. One day you're going to show your handsome face to the world to see. I don't know why you're, oh, there he is with those beautiful teeth.
You'll show it long. Look
That's
at
what I'm talking about. You better ask somebody. That's Action Jackson, y'all. Okay. So Lady T, are you available?
Yes, Dr. Fabulous. Thank you so much. So I'm gonna just close us.
Well, one day y'all gonna get a chance to see her too. But she has a beautiful picture. Okay.
Okay, Fabulous. You win.
I know, I do.
So I'm gonna close the night out because I can relate to Special K's question. I can relate to Mrs. Millie's statement. And I want to start my topic off with mothers. Mothers. When they have children, and I got 4. I didn't really, I think it was my 3rd child, I did not realize that I had postpartum depression. I never knew this. I had a preemie. She was born at 34 weeks even. And Dr. Fabulous will tell you, I am a breast feeding mother. I am an advocate for that. But this was my first preemie. I didn't know what to do. It was like I never had children. I was stressing. I was catering to her. But I was letting myself fall into a deep depression because like I felt like if I did one thing different, then I would harm her. Well, fast forward 2 years, 2 years later, I end up getting pregnant again. So now, Dr. Fabulous, thank you for the theatrics. I end up getting pregnant again, and I had another child. Well, now I'm raising two small ones, and I was breastfeeding. And at this point, I felt like a little monkey, like a cow. It's like you feed one, you feed the other one, whatever. And I didn't have time for myself. And I would snap, I would be irritable. I did not know that I was suffering from that until my second child was born. And I think one of my relatives had mentioned something about it. And that's when I took the time to educate myself. And, when I found out exactly what was going on, then I could get the help I need. Being a mom is not easy, especially if you are alone. And the background that I came from was my mother was very abusive to me. It was so bad to where I was, they had put me in foster care. Well, my grandmother, she was on drugs, but guess what? She took me, and I was with her for so many years until her house got raided and I ended up, in foster care. And from that point, I was in like maybe 4 different homes until finally, at the last home, I had my first child, who's 30 years old now. I had my first child, and he was in foster care with me. And for many years, I had baggage mentally, emotionally. Um, and I didn't really know how to be a mom because my grandparents had raised me. They passed away, and I was like getting like a soup. Auntie here put something on me. Great aunt over here, she gave me some advice. My uncles and my cousins, they all pitched in, but I never had that foundation that your mom's supposed to give you. So when I start having my children, I had to, number one, learn like all over again. No one gave me a manual. And I had a lot of trauma that I took with me from being, you know, uh, being verbally, emotionally, and physically, abused. Then rolling over into foster care, and that alone comes with a whole bunch of issues. Thank God I've never been touched. I was never put in a situation that someone would even think about touching me. I don't know if I had a stamp across my head or what, but I just was not the one to be played with. And then after that, I went to, a first marriage. So I never got the time to heal, and I never got therapy services. Sure, DCF give you a couple of sessions, but they didn't tell me anything that I didn't already know, which was my mother was jealous of me, and she didn't like me because of who my father was. So it wasn't until like I think January 2013, um, I was in church one Sunday, and the pastor was preaching about relationships. And when he preached, it kind of like really dug into my soul. And he was talking about how you need to let it go. And God cannot bless you with so much baggage. You need to forgive. And so that night, I'll never forget, January 23rd, 2013, I sat there like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I wrote my biological mother a letter. It wasn't a nice letter, but it was a letter of how I felt. I didn't care about her feelings because all this time I cared about her feelings. I didn't care about her feelings. And I let her know how much she like messed me up, how much
she took from my children, how much she like just held me down. And at that point, the moment I sealed that letter, I felt like I had wings, like that heavy baggage just had been lifted. Um, like my life started turning around. I started like mentoring children. I was helping senior citizens, meanwhile raising my own children. And I just started learning how to forgive. I had to reprogram my mind, which I'm still in the process of that. I had to learn how to be a good mom. And trust me, I may mess up every now and then because, like Action said, we have that childhood trauma. But I really try every day that I wake up, I thank God and I pray and I try to do one good deed and I try to sow one good seed. And that's my goal. And I try to tell my children how much I love them. I hug them. I'm very like involved in their life and they're very attached to me. And it's a work in progress. It's I do go to therapy services because sometimes the 305 can start the rage, start stirring up, but therapy definitely keeps me grounded. I go like once a week for like 30 minutes. But at first, after my 2-year-old was born, I went sometimes like 2 to 3 times. I would cry for no reason. You could look at me and I would cry. So I mean, Dr. Fabulous, she been there, she knows. Um, but what I'm saying to you all, mental health is real. And the hardest thing that you can do is just step back, look at yourself. I mean, really look at yourself, not lie to yourself.
All right.
And say, what is it that I need? Who cares about the world? Who cares about family? Who cares about what people think, say, or feel? What do I need? And the moment, like they always talk about self-care, that is very important because once you start finding out what you need, your favorite color, your favorite song, what you like, your favorite smell, when you start, putting you first, that's the first step into healing. And I feel like, and it's just my personal opinion, I feel like that's the hardest step because when you do try to do it, sometimes you feel like you're punished or you feel bad or you feel like you shouldn't have done it or whatever. Listen, if you want to go to Ross or Michael Kors or wherever and purchase you an outfit, pair of shoes or MAC makeup, do it. If you want to start off wearing just lashes, go ahead. Start putting yourself first. And I cannot say that, enough. I had to learn the hard way and I did a lot of sacrificing, but I did it and I'm still doing it. And who knows how long, I will go through the process, but therapy is there. Some people feel like it doesn't work, but for me, they had to, basically tear down the shells and dig real deep to the root and then start working on me. And it worked because I'm much more patient. I'm learning how to love, still in the process. I'm learning how to be loved because through that trauma, the first part of my life, I had a son that I didn't know how to love. And it sounds crazy, but I would always push him away. Like when he wants to try to hug me and stuff, I would push him away because I didn't know how to love. And as time went on, I had to catch myself on like a lot of occasions saying, hey, Lady T, step back, hug your son. Tell him how proud you are of him. Go to a football game, do those things, get involved. And, once I did that, everything is okay.
Well, okay. And everyone, it is so good that you can share, because some people, they didn't make it to share. And as she said, self-help, self-love is very important. And of course, it's going to have to be a part two. If you all did not know, the month of May is Mental Health Month. And all month long, Upscale Love for You will definitely be taking it to the levels of self-love and understanding mental health is a thing that is a serious issue. And I'm going to put my question out there tonight before we close. Do you find that the things that you're holding on to within you is not allowing you to love that next person that's for you in a relationship? And I'm going to ask Papa Docs. He's been mighty quiet tonight. I'm going to roll on down to Papa Docs and ask this question. Are there some traumas hidden within yourself that won't allow you to go forward in a relationship with someone?
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
First of all, I want to commend the people that were able to be open about this topic, because it's not easy for people to talk about their own or their experience in the mental health with mental health issues. So to answer your question, Dr. Fabulous, I would like to think, and I guess we all could be guilty of this, but I would like to think that I have no issues about moving on, and sometimes you get in a space where you believe it's not you, or you're not the one that's that's keeping stuff from happening. But I would also like to say, mental illness, when you go to look at your your mate, or to move on to your next mate or whatever, a lot of it you get hung up. Well, I heard the gentleman say that he's been married 3 times, and he had to just change his whole what he was looking for, and so with that, that was a great point, because I never looked at it like that way, because I know what I like, but knowing what I like attracts the same thing over and over again. So if that's a part of mental illness, I probably have a piece of it,
Okay. All right. Do you think there is anything, when we look at adulthood in comparison to childhood? And Lady T says something that brought my attention to certain things, certain issues about she didn't know how to love. So she didn't know how to love her son when it came down to being physically touching, things of that nature, such as hugging. And I always say that I'm a hugger. I'm a very affectionate type person, but with my family, they were the type kiss, pull, hug, all of that good stuff. So I transferred that on to my kids. Do you find, and I'm still talking to Papa Docs, do you find that coming up as from a child to an adult now, is that a form or a stigma that took place with you, if you consider yourself a touchy-feely person or a not so touchy-feely person? or is there a trigger that causes you not to want to be a touchy-feely person?
You know, that's a great question. And so I had it off of that. I have three kids. I have three kids, three different mothers, and my youngest child called me today, and we were talking about, she's having a birthday party in our house for me, and she was talking about my other two kids, and my middle child is a very distant type of person, So sometimes, in order to get her to reach out, you have to reach out to her, and um, my childhood was like that. Dr. Feelgood said, and it resonated with me that, growing up, being a black man or a black, African American, we are taught to not, to always, not show hurt, always strong. You can't be weak at nothing. And that's how I was brought up. So I don't have a weak thing in my body. As I gotten older and I had kids, I was probably in my late 20s before my mom even told me she loved me. And my dad, he wasn't there. I was raised by a stepdad that was a great man. And, but my middle child being so distant, I was telling her, I can't even be mad at the fact that's how she is, because that's how I was. And my daughter said, yeah, Dad, that's how you are sometimes. And I was shocked because, I was in the house with her for some double-digit years. And, I was like, wow. But I said, I come a long way, right? She said, oh, yeah, you come a long way, but you still have that distant thing, because I didn't have the touchy-feely I love you in my house with my mother, So yeah, it was an obstacle to climb, and I'm probably still working on it now, because I reached out to my middle child this week because she hasn't contacted me like in 2 months. And I'm like, what's the problem here? Like, I'm your dad, you don't call me if I don't call you, so yeah, that's a great question. I'm going through that right now.
Well, I'm glad to hear, Papa Doc, that you're able to look at things in a different view and say, hey, it just might be me why things aren't going or not advancing to the next level. Now, with that being said, everyone, I appreciate you, but guess what? I have not heard from Andreen, and she knows without a shadow of a doubt, if she comes on this podcast, Dr. Fabulous just have to hear from her and Nikki. So Nikki, get ready, because I got a question for you. Andreen, your question for this evening is, do you find that culturally, the way in which you were raised, do you feel like that has anything to do with how you love today as an adult woman, the way you were raised?
Yeah, I think I think culture always plays a role into the way you interact with people period. So it's definitely going to impact the way you love. And I was fortunate enough. I'm Jamaican. I'm from the Caribbean, and I have a mom and dad, and I was kind of raised in a um I would say very nurturing environment. So I to be very nurturing, and I tend to take care of people. And I think that definitely impacts me. I am more of a lovey-dovey mom, even with my own girls. Like, that's just my nature. Like, I'm very friendly.
Okay.
So I think that's just with and as with anything else. I feel like who you're raised around and the culture you're raised in impact the way you interact with people. And for me personally, it's definitely evident.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, because I want to say that when you're brought up a certain way, of course, you're going to do what? Pass it on to the next generation and the next generation. But that generation that I told you all about, when they got that uncle that touched Sally, and then Sally end up letting her boyfriend Tom touch Marianne, and so forth and so on, that's the type of generational curse we got to do what?
Great.
Stop it. Stop it and break it. So coming on down to Nikki. Nikki, are you with me?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening, Nikki. You know, I sit here and I look at everybody's name on the board and I say, I haven't heard from Nikki tonight. So Nikki, I need for you to share with me if you have any past traumas from a previous relationship that won't allow you to go forth with a new relationship. Because Dr. Feelgood asked me tonight, did I think I was ready to move on from the death of my husband? And I told him yes, because deep down within my heart, I feel it. I know that I am ready. How about yourself, Nikki?
Well, I definitely had trauma when I was married the first and only time so far. I took my vows to heart for better or worse, and the situation kept getting worse and worse and worse, but just held on to my gun, saying I took the vows, it's going to get better, it's going to get better. But it got to the point that counseling and going to a therapist and helped me snap out of it and realize that he wasn't taking the vows to heart, but I was. And if he's not following through, then I don't need to stay and be a part of this situation. I had to take care of myself. I had my daughter at the time. I had to look out for her. I didn't want her to see the situation of her mom being so sad and staying in something that was not worth anything. So after going through therapy and realizing that I had to look out for her and myself and get into a better spot, once I got my divorce, it helped see that I am a worthy person and that there is someone out there that is going to love me for me and see all the worth that I do bring to a relationship. And so far it has worked out very well. And just taking care of me and my happiness is the most important thing. And when I bring the happy self out, it brings happy people into my life.
All right. Well, that's what I'm talking about. Because you know what? You got to love on yourself first in order for someone to be able to love you back. So, with that being said, everyone, it is. Oh, you know what? I will not get off this show without saying hello to Keisha. Keisha, can you hear me? And Ryan, I see you. So I see you. I see you. Welcome, welcome. Keisha, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hey, Dr. Fabulous.
Is there anything, Keisha, you would like to share this evening that is going to let us know that we need to work on mental health, whether it's working on self or working with relationship?
Well, I'm still working on myself, but one thing I could say is I like to bring up that metaphor with the plant. You got to water yourself, guys. That's all I could tell you is water yourself, because if you keep trying to give yourself to everyone else and you don't give nothing to yourself, you're going to deteriorate yourself, and that's what is going to happen. So love yourself. It's better. It's easier said than done, but you just got to give yourself that solitude, that time to take time to yourself and write down your thoughts. Like really look at your negative thoughts and figure out, why is this here? What is this here for? Like to me, we do have a lot of childhood trauma and all that stuff like that, but those who are comfortable with staying in that space is because they're comfortable with it. They just don't want to get out of it. They don't want to see what could happen. They don't know, like, people don't like to see what's on the other side, but you just got to get uncomfortable and look at what's on the other side. It could be better for you, it could be worse, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be better for everybody.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Keisha. Ryan, would you like to say anything? Because I want, oh, welcome iPhone. iPhone, I don't know who you are, but welcome, welcome. And as I stated, May is the month for mental health. And please, 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 if you have anything you would like to talk about, share with, please send us an email at upscalelove4u. That's the number 4, the letter U, at gmail.com. And also go to YouTube. iPhone, I see you unmuted. You got something to tell me, iPhone? Come on, iPhone. Okay, well, iPhone say they're going to go back on mute. But you can also go to our YouTube, which is also Upscale Love for You. And that way you can review what we talked about tonight. And also, please like us and share us, tell a friend, all that good stuff. And we have Facebook. We have a page on Facebook and we have a group. And of course, it's Upscale Love for You. That's the letter 4, the letter U. And everyone, one more thing. Guess what? Y'all know Dr. Fabulous had to tell you. We are doing our masquerade ball the 27th through the 30th on C this time go round. So if you're interested, by all means, check out our Facebook page and our group for more information. And I will have it up in our chat next week, Thursday. I'm getting all these ding, ding, ding. But if you have anything you would like to share with us, put it in our chat, send it to our emails, and we will definitely, definitely, definitely look forward to taking care of it and sharing it with the people of Upscale Love for You. So without further ado, I'm gonna let Dr. Feelgood, Lady T, and Special K, and Action Jackson say something to you before we get off tonight. So Dr. Feelgood.
Greetings, people. I put all the information that Dr. Fabulous was just talking about, the flyer, copy the flyer for next week. Well, copy the flyer for the week. I've also put in everywhere where we can be reached, our Facebook page, our YouTube page, our email. So you can just copy that, paste it wherever you need it, and make it happen. We ask that you come back, add telephone, tell a friend that the men and the ladies are back again, and we'll see you next week. Now go on, Lady T, take it from me.
Hi, Dr. Feelgood. You know how to make me smile. I just want to say thank you, everyone, for coming. And I am looking forward to this cruise. So please, please, please make sure you sign up. This is my first cruise. And I promise you guys, I am a load of fun. So please sign up. I think there's limited space, if I'm correct, Dr. Fabulous.
Yes.
My team, make sure you reach out to me, make sure you pay your deposit, and I'm going to slide it over to Special K.
And thank you, Lady T. Lady T, thank you so much for sharing and being transparent. That took a lot of courage to share with everyone. And I want to just thank everyone who participated tonight, who showed up, who listened. Mental health is real. And like I stated earlier, I learned a lot, and just hearing what other people are going through and their methods of coping, it really helps someone. Like they say, sometimes sharing our stories, we never know who we can touch and who we can help. So thank everyone for joining in tonight. Also, I hope that everyone who's able to make it to the cruise in October will come. It'll be exciting to see everyone and have some fun. Good night. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great weekend.
All right, Action Jackson and Papa Docs, I see your hand. I'm gonna get you. I'm not gonna cut off before I get you. Action Jackson.
Now, thanks once again, everyone, for participating in tonight's episode. Like I said, mental health is a sensitive topic, especially in our community, and we value and respect everyone who shared their opinion and experience. And we're just gonna get therapy and help. And looking forward for next week's episode. And it's also my first cruise, so I'm looking forward to meeting all the new faces and everyone on the trip will have a great time.
All
Looking forward
right.
to you.
And Papa Docs, you got your hand up. You tell him you got your hand up. You won the lottery. Come on, Papa Docs. What you got? What you got? Did I lose you, Papa Docs? Okay, well, he must have hit the hand button by mistake. You on mute, Papa Docs, if you trying to say something. Well, Papa Doc's got his hand frozen, y'all. So with that being said, I'm going to say thank you all so much for coming on. And guess what, y'all? It's that time, and I'm going to tell you, did somebody say something? Because when I say that smooches, you know that's it. I'm going to say good night and smooches. Mwah. Good night.